All right, we have part two to the Classy Hobby 1/16 scale Panzer II Luchs build. Uh, got most of the turret. Well, the turret is complete, and rest of the hull kind of started on what it needs to get finished. Still have to put a lot of the Pioneer tools on, some tow hooks that go here. Uh, and then there's the shovel, starter crank, axe, wire cutters that still need to go on. But everything else is pretty much done. I still don't have the road wheels mounted yet. Still working on or waiting for that to get finished. Uh, what's kind of cool about the turret is this little latch right here, if I can get it. Oh, yep. That'll open, or you can glue it shut. And then also, right there, the gunner's little periscope will rotate, which is pretty cool. Now, for some reason, on the other two versions, according to the instructions, you can make the commander's one rotate too. But, going by the instructions, and I'm particularly building 4134, it doesn't rotate. So I still have to mount the periscopes in there, which is no problem. They're very easily accessible. I did kind of rudimentary or very crudely paint the interior. Not going to be seen, but everything else went well. This gun has a trunnion, unlike the Stuart, so you do have elevation and depression there, which is nice. The turret really went together pretty well. The only issue I had that I had to go back and address was the gap where you glued the upper turret to the lower turret, and then the back. That was kind of it was an ugly seam line there that really needed to be addressed. So kind of put some extra weld seams in there, or redid the weld seams, because the weld seams on here are pretty soft. And then the gap there, it needed fixed. Couldn't let that go. And also, between the two different variants, the options 1 and 2, the rear door here is bigger. So you get a completely different back plate, door, and all that. So definitely keep in mind as you go through the instructions how that's done. And also, when you go to putting in the fire extinguishers, they're located different on the different variants for some reason, which doesn't seem to make sense. Why aren't they standardized, I guess? But 4134, they go here, and then the other two versions, it mounts here. So yeah, you got to deal with that. Pay close attention to the instructions, because if not, we'll just come right over here real fast. If you look, see step 22, well, they got you building the fire extinguisher, right? So you're cruising along, you're in the groove, you're gluing, you're assembling, and you go, all right, I'm doing that. But when you come look at it over here, step 42, 20 steps later, you're building another fire extinguisher, and you only get one. So you're going to have to look at this and say, okay, this goes for the option I'm doing, and it's not even labeled. So you got to deal with that. The other options don't have the jack, so you got to deal with that. So yeah, but that's just one of many idiosyncrasies in these instructions. That's good there from the, that's all three variants there. But yeah, see right here, it shows you option 1 and 2, where the fire extinguisher goes, which is completely different than option 3, which shows it mounted on the back. Where's it at? Lost my place here. Well, they show you building it there, and you'd think they'd show you mounting it here, but there's the jack. So all the turret stuff, no biggie. There's the you see a big door, little door, and then you have the options for the commander cupola or hatch. No biggie. It's kind of cool that they give you a couple 20mm rounds and a couple extra spare magazines. And then this thing here, I don't know if this is like some kind of, maybe a periscope. I don't know what this is, but it's only for the other two. But yet they show it on 4134 right here. But then it's not shown on this one. So I deleted it and I just have the base for it on my tank. And here we go. There's there it's mounted. So the instructions are not the best, that's for sure. They have you building stuff and then showing you that it goes to different variants. Like here's the instructions for the small door and then the big door. They're both the same. I mean, they go together identically, just different sized. No biggie there. There's for the hatch. I guess it says it's only for 134, but I don't understand that because they both, all the variants have got to have it. So I don't know, maybe translation wise, I don't know. They show the jack being mounted right there. The PE here, this is kind of a challenge because these things are so thin right here to mount that brass and then the brass screen on top of it, or the PE. What a mess. And then they show you where the stowage goes, but I'm going to delete this 20mm can and then this big box on the end. It's kind of, I don't know. And they showed this on 4134 option 3, but then it doesn't show it later on. Nowhere, I mean, it shows it there, but there's no glue points, no locating pins. So I guess it's best guess. You know, whatever. But other than that, you just got to pay attention and then go through this whole manual before you start your build and saying, okay, I'm going to do this when this happens. You know, I mean, like right here, this is for option 3 and this is option 1 and 2, but it doesn't tell you that. You got to figure that out, you know. Of course, you know, up here, the axe and the clamps for all that's all the same, you know. So yeah, so if you build this kit, go through these instructions and like go with a highlighter, figure out, okay, this is what I'm building for this, option, right? So you don't get that confused, and you'll be backtracking, going flipping through the instructions, and where's this mounted, and this, that, and the other, right? Enough on the instructions. Kind of a sticky point there, but everything else went really well. The turret wasn't that bad. It does have the gaps here that needed to be fixed, right? There are locating points where this glues on. Nothing for the 20 mil ammo can though, so you're just kind of best guessing. Okay, that looks like that's where that would go. Still got to do, like I said, mount a couple of these wood boxes. One will go there, and then there's a smaller variant that'll go there, right? And then this little one mounts up here, right? So still got to do all that. This here's where the bulk of the Pioneer tools go: starting crank, axe, shovel, which are kind of like, the crank goes here, axe goes here, and then the shovel kind of like goes across the top of it. Kind of hokey, but so far so good. I do have the ammo cans in the back racks back here, which you can see, just for showing that they'll fit, and no issues with that. I did put the jack together, the jack brackets, but the jack doesn't fit in there, so I'm kind of lost now as to where how's that going to go. So before you paint, definitely go through the instructions and figure out, okay, what can I glue on? You can definitely glue on these jack brackets. Once you get the fenders mounted and everything in there, you just be able to glue that up, no problem. The antenna mount, for the star antenna mount, you can go ahead and glue that on. Not a biggie. A lot of the stuff up here on the front, you can glue on, no biggie. All these little PE and fender attachment points you can glue on. Back here, the little rear brace you can glue, the light. This is the bracket that holds on another can or box that I am not going to mount there. I'm just going to delete, right? Yeah, so definitely with these instructions, go through it and look at, highlight, what can I glue on, and pre-paint before I commit to like mounting the suspension and everything, because I like to get everything at least a coat of paint on it before it gets covered up, and then you'll never get back to it. And like anything else, you can't always cover everything with paint, and you want to make sure that you can, what you can paint, so that it'll be covered up and not seen, if that makes sense. Just try and paint everything is what I'm trying to get to. And yeah, there you go. Not a bad kit. It definitely is not a take-home. It's not. I mean, I think those kits go to better, fit better instructions than these classy hobby ones, but you're definitely going to use some skill. I wouldn't call this a beginner's kit. If this is like, oh, I'm getting into modeling, let's build a 1/16 Lux. Yeah, I would choose a different kit for that. Not something like this, because this is not quite like advanced, but definitely you need a few models under your belt before you attempt this because it's confusing with the instructions, and it doesn't always jive with what their reference paint guide, you'd think that that would be an accurate depiction, right? But that's not necessarily true. So you really got to like look at this and decide, how's the best way to put this together, So with that said, this is a pretty decent build so far. I think it's going to look really cool in display case. When it gets painted up, weathered, and camoed, and all the markings on it, it'll be pretty cool. I think this is pretty neat where this will rotate. That's pretty cool. I think I might just go ahead and glue that down, but I wanted to show you that you can have that where it opens. So if you have this hatch open, you can open up this little one. That just gets a little extra light in there in the turret so that you can see the detail that's inside there. The guns are pretty straightforward, both the coax and the 20 mil, and then the gunner sight. Nothing too bad. I mean, you can kind of see them right there, so not bad there. I think it went better than the 37 mil on the Stuart, and definitely better than the Gecko. That kit was insane with all the detail that was on that gun. Way overboard. But yeah, the PE, there's a little bit of it, and you will use it. I've like almost completely used it all up. Anything else that I can think of before? I think that's it. Rear deck, I think, looks pretty cool. It's very Panther-esque almost in a way. And then, you've got the turret and everything. So it looks pretty good. I think it's going to be a nice build all said and done. And I did replace some of the handles with brass, like right there, and then up front, because these driver's hatches, they fold down, which is pretty neat on the real thing. And there's not a lot of references on this tank. I have a couple books on the Pzr II, but there's just isn't a lot on the Luchs, so it's almost a separate tank. I don't know why they consider it a Pzr II, but it's really almost a completely different tank. But there's a couple videos on YouTube about it, but just not a whole lot of information that I've been able to find on this build. So definitely take your time with it. Go through those instructions, decide what option you're going to build. Go through there, find out what the differences are. Look at your paint reference, and see what they are, and then should be good to go. All right, thanks.